Cool. Hello to each of you guys. I hope that you're all doing well. Firstly, let's do a quick review on what we had in previous session. And then tonight we keep working on loops. In the previous session, as you see, we started to talk about Python loops. Loops, it allows your program to repeat a block of code multiple times as discussed in the previous session. So Python has two different types of loops for iteration, or when you want to repeat a task again and again, you can do that task, you can do this job in two ways. The first one is using for. For loop, it repeats for each item in a sequence. And when you know how many times you want to repeat a task, you can use for. In the other side, we have while loop. So while loop, they repeat a task while a condition is true. So you don't know how many times. You still have no idea about the exact number of repetition. When you are using for, when we know how many times you want to repeat something. When you are using for, it may comes into a simple repetition. For example, for I in range of 5, it means repeat this task for me 5 times, like printing attempt number and then I. When you are using loops, firstly, it should start with for or while. Then you need to use colon. Pretty similar to conditionals, it needs to go to the next line. If you are using IDEs, heaps of those IDEs, they automatically send you to the next line after putting colon and pressing enter. And also they automatically gives you indentation. We already have a chat about indentation as well. You can use tab in your keyboard to send the cursor one space to the right, or alternatively, you can use a space bar in your keyboard and press it 4 times. Continuing with the range, so we had simple range for I in range of 5, or if you want to start your repetition from somewhere in the middle, like for I in range of 6 to any other number. As you see, then it goes to the next line and print something. When you don't know how many times you want to repeat some things, then you can use while. That was the basic things about loops that we used in the previous session. In our tonight class, we will work with so many examples, and we try also to use the previous examples and equip them with using loops. Firstly, let's go to Google Colab. New window, let me reshare my screen, and then we can work on some examples to get familiar with loop. The other things that I wanted to show you before using Google Colab, let me reshare my screen. There is another website which is so handy if you want to do a bit of more practice and see so many examples. You can simply go and type W3 School, W3 Schools, this site. Let's do put it here, W3 Schools. So this website is so useful if you want to practice. You see W3 Schools online web tutorials. It's not only provide training for Python, but for all other programming languages like HTML, SQL, JavaScript, and etc. Let's have a look on this website. As you see, it's designed to help you to learn to code. And here on the top, you see different programming languages like CSS, JavaScript, Python, PHP, C++, C Sharp, Bootstrap, MySQL, and etc. So if you want to learn, for example, how to code with Python, you just need to go to Python, and it's the stuff from the very basic things as you see in the left side. We have Python introduction, getting you started with Python, learning about Python syntax, and all of those things that I covered. You can find them here in W3 School as well. It's a very, very useful website. For example, Python syntax, you can see how print works, Python indentation. You can see it's showing you by an example. If, for example, 5 is bigger than 2, go to next line, use indentation. And as you see, it says Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code. And there are so many examples, pretty basic examples, however. You can just scrolling down, having a look, for example, on Python variables. You see variable naming, assigning multiple values to a variable, output variables. So if I go down, you see how to create variables, some examples, casting, Python data types. You can see a string, integer, float, complex, all the previous topics that I covered in the class. You can find it here in the W3 school as well. And also if you keep going down, you can see Python booleans, true or false, Python operators. We worked with so many of these operators in our previous classes. Arithmetic operators, assignment operators. If you want to, for example, find a reminder, if you want to take a number to power of another number, at least tuples and set, still we need to have a chat about loops, and then we can have a chat about list, tuples and tuples and dictionary in the next few sessions. Python if and conditionals, you see Python if a statement, again double sign, double equal sign, not equal, less than or greater. That's all the things that I covered in the class. How if a statement works, so it explains everything in a very simple word. The if statement evaluates a condition, an expression, if it's true or if it's false. If the condition is true, the code block inside if statement will be executed. Otherwise, it skip it. Python elif. We worked with so many elif examples in the previous class. Python else keyword, and all the other things that we had in the previous session. Also, while loop. So you see here Python while loops, for loops. You see for while loop, we can execute a set of a statement as long as the condition is true. For example, I is equal to 1, so we have a variable and it takes the value of 1. While I is less than 6, then keep printing. As discussed in the previous session, in this simple example, the first value that I assign to this variable is 1. So Python take it and put it in its memory. Then it goes to the next line. Is number 1 less than number 6? Correct, which is true. So if the condition is true, then it goes and execute whatever is inside that loop. So it will print number 1. Then it goes on, add number 1 to the previous digit, which makes it number 2. Again, it goes to the loop. Is number 2 again still less than 6? Print it, increase it by 1, and again go and check. So it keeps repeating this loop until I becomes equal or bigger than 6, then it stops. And when it's a stop, it jumps out of the loop. Otherwise, it keeps repeating whatever you mention in the loop. So it's very important. In the previous session, we saw if there is nothing to stop the loop, it just keeps going. So you need to use some controlling mechanism in order to stop the loop. Otherwise, the loop keeps going. It doesn't stop. In this case, so it says go and execute these two lines inside the loop until it becomes equal to 6. So when I becomes 6, still it will print it. It becomes 7. Is number 7 less than 6? No. And then it will stop. Also, as I mentioned in the previous class, today we will talk about some other mechanisms when you want to stop a loop. One of them is break. With the break statement, we can stop the loop even if the while condition is still true. So we will work with some examples and break, continue, and pass in our tonight class. But I just wanted to show you this website, W3 School. Let's have a look on Python for loops. For was another topic that we discussed in the previous session. It's used for iteration over a sequence as discussed, and when you know how many times you want to repeat. Here you see that we have a list of fruits, apple, banana, and cherry. And what it says for each item in this variable, just go and print them. So it goes and print apple, banana, and cherry. So you can try to see if you know what would be the outcome, and then you can click here on try it yourself, and it shows you the result. So you can check if you correctly answered and predicted the results or not. Looping drew a nest range for x in banana. So here I have a nest range. What happens if you say for x in banana, go and print? it will print letter B and then letter A, letter N, letter A, letter N, and letter A. So it keeps repeating till it finished, till it's reached the end of the loop, and then it's a stop. When it's a stop, it goes to the next line out of loop. Okay, so now let's go to Google Colab and keep working in our loop. Okay. So if you're using Google Colab or if you're using your own IDEs, please just go and open your file. Which one was? Let's see if it was 10. Okay, so I start with a simple example and then I give you more tasks. I want to make sure that you are comfortable with loops, because when you learn loop, it means that you are ready to work in your assessment task too. You will have all the knowledge and the skills that you need to write the code for a password manager. Also, in our tonight class, I'll give you a bit of more insight to work in your assessment task too. The other things that I need to mention, probably you know that next Tuesday, we don't have any class. It's a public holiday next Tuesday. So there is no class on 28th of October. As you know, it's Melbourne Cup, so we don't have class next Tuesday. This week we will have another two session, which is tomorrow and Thursday, and next week we will have Wednesday and Thursday. I was thinking to ask you to submit and finish your assignment by end of this week, but when I checked that we have a long weekend this week, I was thinking probably you may have some time on this long weekend to work in your assessment as well. So that's totally fine if you want to take the time and review all the content and recordings. Do your best. Still, if you may have any issue, next Wednesday, I will work in our assessment task too. So just go ahead, just try, give your best, try to answer all the questions. As I said, tonight I give you a bit of more information about assessment task two. It's asking you to create a password manager, which is asking for username, password, and a URL to keep your passwords. Instead of writing them down on a paper, which is not secure, you will have a password manager. So you can log into your password manager, add a URL. For example, you want to log into my VU Collaborate. So you put the URL, then you have a username, which might be your student email. Then you have a password, you can put it there. And then your password manager should be able to save your credentials. If you want to add the credentials or if you want to see all available credentials, I will give you a bit of more information, but just try and do your best. If you can't get it done, next session, which should be the first session next week, which should be the 5th of November. What's the day today? 28th. So the 5th of November, which is next Wednesday, I will work in our assessment task too. Okay, firstly, let's start writing some codes to learn how to work with loops. As discussed, I start with for. I want to create a loop. Again, I remind you this one for you, and then I give you a couple of tasks. For I, as discussed, instead of I, you can put any other letter, A, B, C, or whatever. For I in range 5, as you see, or 6, anything that you want to put in the range, it should be inside a parenthesis. Then you need to have colon. For I in range, it needs parentheses open, parentheses close, and colon. That's a part of syntax. It's very important. If you fail to put colon, it doesn't work. And when you press enter, you see that it automatically starts from the middle of the line. It's not the beginning of the line. It's like one tab or multiple spaces to the left. For I in range, print I. So this is a full and complete code. When you run it, you see that it's print number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So always pay attention. If you say range in 6, it doesn't include the last number. It's like less than 6, not less than and equal. So it doesn't include 6, but it repeats the process 6 times. One time, second time, third time, 4, 5, 6. So what happens? It goes and start from 0, it print number 0, then it goes back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it printed all the numbers. If you put any other things here, for example, you can put an string, attempt number, comma I. So if you rerun the code, you see that it shows attempt number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you change 6 to 7 or 8 or 4, you see also you can create a range. For example, instead of saying for I in range of 4, which start from 0, you can say start from 2 and go up to 7. So you see that it's started from 2. So if you wish to start not from 0, from any other number, you can specify inside the parentheses by a comma. What happens if you put another comma here? So it will confuse Python because for a range, it should be either lower bound and upper bound. So what happens here? It says that just go and print number 2 and number 5. It's like increase the attempts by 3, not by 1. If you give it a higher range, you see that it firstly goes and print number 2, then it increases it by 3 to 5, then it increases it by 3 to 8, and then it goes to 11. Still, it's inside the boundary, so you can say this number 2 is the lower bound, number 12, it's the upper bound, it specifies the range, and this is the incremental value. So if you wish to change or increase the value by 2, so probably you expect to see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And as you see, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Cool. So now you know the first value, specify the lower bound. In the other side, you have the upper bound. And by default, if you don't put anything, by default, you assume that you want to increase by 1. What happens if you start from 12 and you say 2? So you can just play. You can play to see how it works. So here, you see that I started with a bigger number, like the lower bound is 12, but the upper bound is 2. What happens if I run the code? Let's see. So nothing happens. It seems that it's not able. Why? Because by default, it tried to increase the range. What happens if instead of 12, I put minus 12? So now it should work. So you see that it starts from minus 12 and it goes up to number 2. So minus 12, minus 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, all the way down to 0 and 1. It doesn't include number 2. Okay, now let's go and work with another task to get you ready for more practical activities. Imagine I have a counter like this, and I say counter is 5. And this time I use while, and I say while counter is positive, it's bigger than 0, print what? Print system rebooting in. Then I put counter and then again another string seconds. So you can imagine what happens when you run the code. Firstly, put yourself in Python position. Counter is 5, or let's say counter is 10. Is number 10 bigger than 0? Yes. So if it's the case, just go and print system rebooting in, print counter. So initially it's 10 and seconds, then counter is equal to counter minus 1. So what happens? It gets number 10 as the first value. Is number 10 bigger than 0? Yes. So go and print this sentence. Okay. Then what should I do? Whatever you have in counter, reduce it by 1 and replace it into your memory. So you have 10 minus 1, it becomes 9. Again, it goes back to the beginning of the loop. Is number 9 bigger than 0? Yes. So print system rebooting in 9 seconds. So let's see what happens when you run this code. You see that system rebooting in 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds, it goes down, and eventually it becomes 1 second. So in each iteration, it print this line, and it reduced the number by 1. So in this block, there are two commands. Print the line, reduce the number. Print the line, reduce the number, till the number becomes 0. So here you have number 1. Number 1 goes here to counter. 1 minus 1, it becomes 0. So counter now, it has a new value, which is 0. 0 goes up to first line, or second line, it's better to say. Is number 0 bigger than 0? False. Okay, so if it's false, stop it. Here, if I send the printer back, print, and I type system rebooted, just check these two print. You can see that this print inside the loop, it has a different color. So it tells you that, look, I'm inside the loop. This one, it's not in the loop, it's outside of the loop. You see that it says started from the beginning of the line. It's so important. If you send this print inside the loop, what happens? It means that for each repeat, for each cycle, print this sentence, reduce the number, and print this system rebooted. Look, 10 seconds rebooted, 9 seconds rebooted, 8 seconds rebooted. But if I send it out of the loop, what happens? Python goes to this tree line and keep repeating the task. It prints system rebooting in 9 seconds, reduce the number, 8 seconds, reduce the number, and when it finish all the iteration, it goes outside of loop and it checks for any other commands that you may have. Look. So it says 10 second, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and eventually system rebooted. So that's exactly the same things that you may see in servers or timed shutdowns. It follows this structure. Okay, if you remember, in one of our previous tasks, I tried to find it and show you what you did. You created a code for logging or credentials verification. You remember that I tried to find it. We had a username and a password already saved in a database. I reckon it was for Maxwell with the password of something. I try to find it now. So now what I want to ask you, use that code that you used it for credential verification and only allows 3 attempts. So let me see if I'm able to find that code. But if you couldn't find it, that's okay. Just try to write the code in a way which allows logging only for 3 times. For example, it's asking put your username or password. If I'm entering a wrong credentials, it can give me another attempt. Again, intentionally I put a wrong credentials. It says it's wrong. Give me another attempt. If for 3 times I enter and I input a wrong credentials, then it needs to block me. So just think about it. And again, before jumping to write the code, try to write all the steps in a piece of paper or take some notes. Think what steps you need to do. in order to limit the number of iteration. Only 3 times is allowed. And if the user input 3 times by wrong credentials, it should block. So think about it. And in the meantime that you're thinking about how to write this code, let me see if I'm able to find that old code. 7. And I can see that you put something in the chat box as well. I answer your questions. Firstly, let me find out login verification. That's okay, Maria. I hope you get better soon. Yes, Karen, correct. Unfortunately, I'm working, but we'll use the opportunity to catch up. That's okay, Mac. Just I was checking the first assessment is due Wednesday, 5th of November. So for the assessments, both assessments, let's to say by 5th of November. Assessment task 1 is pretty easy. Firstly, let's finish this and then I give you a bit of more information for assessment task 1 and 2. Let's say both assessments, we aim to get it done by next week, preferably by Wednesday, 5th of November. Yes, correct. It's in Melbourne Cup on the 4th. Checking has becoming off nights. My dates and days are all messed up. Sorry for that, Karine. Correct. Maxwell, the assessment is gonna be emailed. Thank you so much, Stuart. Yes, for the assessments, you just need to go to your view collaborate. Again, firstly, let me finish this and then I'll show you how to download the assessment templates. And yes, firstly, let to focus on our topic, then I give you more information about the assignments. Okay, let me reshare my screen again. Okay, if you remember, in the previous case, I couldn't find it unfortunately, but imagine that we had a username, uh, a username for who? A username for Stuart, let's say. And we have a password. Let's say it's password. So when you created your account, imagine those credentials has been created and saved in a database. Then imagine you try to log in. So when you want to log in, I can create another variable. I put input because I want to ask a question. Obviously, I need to have parentheses. And please enter your username, and password. Let's say it's again input. Please enter your password. So we already have this code. If user is equal to username, so username, we already had it, and password is equal to password, print access granted. Otherwise, just type access denied. So what is your username? And I say it's Stuart. And what is the password? For password, I use with a lowercase intentionally to see if it's working. Password. And it says access denied, which is correct because I used a lowercase. Now let's try with the right credentials. Start and then the password. It's password. And you see access granted. Okay, so in this case, if I put a wrong password multiple times, there is nothing to stop me. So I just put some random username or password. It only allows me one attempt and there is nothing to give me the chance to re-enter, or there is nothing to stop me. Imagine we want to add a loop to this code. We already have this code. Let me to name it login attempt limit. Login attempt limit to see how we are able to limit maximum number of attempts. We already have the username and we already have the password. Imagine it's saved in a database. So here I can use a loop. I can say while attempts are less than 3 or 2. If you say 2, so you know that it should be 0, 1, and it doesn't include 2. So you can change it to 3 because you need 3 attempts. While attempts is less than 3. Here, you have a question to ask for the user, and there is another question to ask for the password. So firstly, all of these 2 lines, they need to be part of the while block. So I send this to the right, and I can send this to the right as well. So in each attempt, it asks you, please enter your username, please enter your password. Okay, so here, let's see if user, PS, and if they all are a part of the block or not. So I need to send if, let me check, yes, 1 space to the right. So what happens here? If I delete this line, you see these 4 lines of codes, they are part of this while loop. What does it mean? It means that in each attempt, it goes and run all of these 4 lines. It asks for a user, it asks for a password, it checks if the user and usernames and passwords are correct. I can change this to make it more meaningful. Saved user, and here I change it to saved password. That's the password that I already have. So in each repetition, ask the question, please enter your username, then ask, please enter your password. If the user is equal to saved user and password is equal to saved password, then print access granted. Else, it means that if it's not correct, if the username or password, any of them is not correct, print access denied. What happens if I run the code? Let's see what happens. So at this stage, there is nothing to stop. It just keeps going. Let's see. Firstly, it says that you have an error, and the error is, it says that in line 8, you need to have an indentation, and it's correct because here I have if. So when you have if needs to have indentation. Again, it's a good activity to see if is a part of this while loop, so it has one indentation from the left. Print is a part of if, so it needs to have the indentation. Let's rerun again. Now you get another error. It says that name attempt is not defined. So here you see that I have attempts, while attempt is less than 3. So it says, what is attempt? I have no idea what do you mean. You see here, it says name attempt is not defined. So we need to create another variable for attempts. And I say it's 0. So what it does, this variable helps us for counting. Now let's rerun the code. Okay, so now you see that it's working. Please enter the username. And I say start. Then it says enter your password. Intentionally, I put a wrong password like 1323. Imagine that I'm a hacker and I try to guess the password by trial and error. So you see that again, it keeps repeating. What happens here? I put start, but for the password, I put a wrong password. So Python goes here, ask for the user, ask for the password. Here it tries to check. Is the user the same as saved user? Yes. Is the password the same as saved password? No. It's not correct because the saved password is password, but I entered 1323. So here in the left, I have 1323. And the right side, I have this value, which is password. So technically, it should go and says access denied. But why it didn't? Again, it went up and started to ask for your username and your password. Let's intentionally try 3 times to see what happens. So password, again, I put another wrong password. Again, it keeps repeating. Again, I put a wrong username and a wrong password. Again, it's asking. This time again, I give a wrong username and a wrong password, intentionally a wrong password. So you see that it keeps repeating. Why? Because there is nothing here to stop the attempts. You say that attempts is 0, and while 0 is less than 3, just keep repeating. So we need to have the counter in each attempt. You need to increase the attempt number. Okay, how to do that? So we need to increase the attempts. For example, you can put it here. And I say attempt is equal to attempts plus 1. So, okay, now I have a counter. Each time it increases the attempts. It's 0, then it becomes 1, 2, and then it's a stop. Let's see. I redo the test. Please enter username. Just to save time, I intentionally put the wrong password. Username AS, password full. So now you see that it only allowed me 3 times. Previously, when I didn't have any counter like that, it was keep going. So later on, if you go to certificate 4, you see that it's called brute forcing. Brute forcing is a type of attack that attacker brute forcing is a trial and error method used to guess the password. Just like, for example, you have a combination lock and you forgot what was the password. Imagine that you have a suitcase with 3 digits, or you have a combination lock for your bike, it has 3 digits, and you forgot what was the password. So usually what you do, you start from 000, then you try that. If it doesn't open, you change it to 001, 002, 003, 4, 5, 6, and then you go all the way down to 999. So if you're pretty lucky and the correct code is pretty close to 000, it may take you a few minutes. It's the same things the hackers they try to do just by trial and error. For example, imagine I know your username and I try to guess the password. So I just change all different combinations of your name, plus your date of birth, plus your phone number, plus your student ID, just trial and error. So if there is nothing to stop me, I can just try millions of different passwords. That's the same things that we will see in certificate for cybersecurity. We will use some tools like John the Hacker, or we will write some codes which they are able to go nowadays with the help of giant computers, a possible to guess billions of passwords in a very short time. Like for example, millions of passwords in a second. We have softwares, we have codes that are able to go and guess millions of passwords just in a second. But here in the revising the code, I put a counter here. So what happens in each iteration, in each repetition, it asks these two questions. It checks if your credentials are correct, and it increases the number of attempts. So 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3. When it becomes 3, in the left side you have 3, and in the right side you have 3. Is 0 less than 3? No. So it's a stop. It means that the whole block, it seems that the expression is false, and the whole block will stop. And then it goes and print access denied. Let's rerun the code. Please enter username, Stuart. Intentionally, I put it with lowercase. Stuart. What is the password? Password. It doesn't say anything. If you wish, you can change it a little bit, and I do that to say that it's a wrong password. Please try again. At this stage, it just says nothing, but it gives me another attempt. Please enter your username. And I say start and password. Password. So again, it's not correct. Again, username start and password. Intentionally, I give it a wrong password just to test. That's the usual process. Usually developers, when they write a code for an application or a software, they go to testing just to make sure that their code is working for any potential scenario. So password, so it blocked me. Access denied. So you can change it. You can change access denied and your account locked. Please contact admin. So what happens if you change this 3 to number 1? So it only gives you one attempt. Let's see. Please enter the username. I put st password 456. So it only gives me one attempt. Access denied and your account locked or has been locked. Anything you want to put. Yeah. Please contact admin. That's the same things when you put a wrong username or password. It only gave me one attempt. If I change this to 2 and I rerun the code, so username, something like that. Again, a wrong username, a wrong password. So access denied and your account has been locked. Please contact admin. This time, let's put the right username and password. So please enter your username, store, as you see here. For password, it should start with capital P, at password. Here you see that it says access granted. Access granted, but again, it gives me another attempt. So that's the topic that now I want to have a chat. If the loop is still true, so the loop still goes on, because you say you can go and repeat this 3 times, 0, 1, and 2, or let's change this, 0, 1, and 2. It means 3 times. But what happens if you want to stop the loop for any reason? Here, because the username and passwords are correct. So there might be situations that you need to stop your code. I go to my board and I explain it in more detail. But in that situations, if you wish to stop your code for any reason, you can use some mechanism, like for example, this here. After typing access granted, you see here, access granted. I want to stop the process. It doesn't matter if I still have another 2 attempts or 3 attempts or 4 attempts. I want to stop it. In that case, you can use another command, break. I go to my board and I explain it in more detail. What it does, let's redo the test. Please enter the username and I say it's start, password, and you see that it's stopped, access granted. So in the first attempt, I put the right username and password. Still, I have another 2 attempts, but I don't need it. So you see that this time it didn't ask me again, please enter your username. Look, it says access granted. If I delete this break and I put a start password, again I put 2 password, you see that it says access granted, but again it keeps asking me what is your username. Why? Because I still have another 2 attempts. So what happens? It comes here to this line. It's counting, okay, what is your username? What is your password? They are correct. Yes. Username is the same as what I have in my memory. Password is the same on what I have in my memory. So I type access granted. But because still I have another 2 attempts. So after finishing this line, Python goes up again here. It increased the attempts by 1 as well. So 0 becomes 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes. So again, it asks you what is your username, what is your password. Again, it checks. If they are correct, it says access granted. Again, it increased the attempts by 1. It becomes 2. It becomes 3. So 3 times it repeat the process. I don't need it if I put a right password and username. I need to stop. So break will help us to stop the process. Okay, let's go back to my board and explain about these controlling mechanisms or interruptions of loop iteration, it's called. And then we will be back again here on Google Colab with a couple of more examples. Let me see what you put in the chat. Nathan, let me have a look. Counter, if username Maxwell, password, print. Well done. Yes, exactly true. Nathan, correct. Zach, clearance int password if clearance is 3 and password is
Yeah, ignore that one.
okay.
I had that open in one of the boxes.
That's okay. I don't know how to do the count limit, so I show you. You need to have a counter. Okay, Peter, use the step mechanism between care. Let's have a look. Attempt 1, correct. So, okay, yes, your codes are correct. Well done. We need to break the loop. Maxwell, correct. The break didn't stop the process for me. Let's see. Okay, so so that's a good one picked by Zach. So if you have a look on Zach's screenshot, let me see if it's available for everyone. Yes. So if you have a look on Zach's screenshot, let me see if my screen is shared. Yes. Look, it's a good one. Here you see that we have a while attempt is less than 2. Just go and print user, get the user, get the password. If the user is the same as saved user and password is the same as saved password, print access granted. But break here is part of if. It's not part of while. So what you need to do, you need to click before break, and with the help of backspace, send it one space back to the left. So break becomes a part of while because you want to stop while. You don't want to stop if. But now break is a part of if. It's not part of while. So it's just like Python, ignore it. So if you just click before break and send it back to the left, exactly from the same line when if started, you see that if, here you see if, it shows you a vertical line to help you where you need to send break. You see if attempts, they all are started from the same spot. User, PS, if, and attempts, they all started from the same spot. But break is inside if. It means that it's not part of the while loop. It means that it doesn't help with stopping the loop. So please just click before break and with the backspace, send it one space back to the left. Look here. So this is our code. And this is your code. So just send it a bit to the left and it should work. Then what else? We can assign a number bigger than 3 to attempts if the condition is true, so it will go out of correct. Yeah, there might be so many. I just want to get you familiar with the logic. But when you know the logic here, there might be so many different ways to get it done, correct? What else looks the same? Which one you mean the same? My code and Zach code? Yeah, there was 2 indentation. You just need to use 1 indentation and it should work. So let me go back to,
Sorry, Amir, I dropped the break back and it still did the same thing.
okay, are you about to send a screenshot to see
Yeah.
what issue? Is it like my code? If you can, send me a screenshot to see, or you can share your screen if you wish, so I can see.
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
While attempt is less than 2, ask for password. So user and password. If the username and passwords are the same, print access granted, which is correct, and break. Okay, so just do one thing, Zach. Before print, send print one space back to the left. I reckon probably you have 2 indentation for print. So before print, click before P in print, send it 1 tab back to the right, and also break. Click before break and send it 1 space back to the right. I mean like this. Let me see if my screen is shared. No, let me share my screen again. Screen 2. So I'm thinking that your code is like this, probably. Let's just send this here and break here. It should work. If you are not sure how many space or indentation you had, you can send this down and then press tab. Send both print and break to the beginning of the line and then press tab for break, print for break, and it should work. So give it a try. And if still you have the issue, I reckon it's good to copy all of your commands and open another block. Sometimes it happens that the Google Colab, it may stuck.
I'll try that. I'll open up another one.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so in the meantime that you're trying that, we have something called interruption of loop. When you want to stop or interrupt, interrupt. In this case, I was using break. So what it does, it will immediately terminate a loop entirely. So what does it mean? It means that the program execution, it goes to the first statement, following by the loop body, the break, it ends up the current loop. It jumps out of the loop. So if you have a while or you have a for loop and then you have break, when Python reaches the break, it's a stop the whole process. It goes and jumps out of the loop. So I can say when Python reach to break, stops or ends, it ends the current loop and jumps to the next line out of the loop block. Another one, which is pretty similar, it's continue. But there is a difference between break and continue. If I want to put it simple, when you use break, it terminates, it kills the whole loop. For example, imagine I have like number 1, 2, and I have a break here. So it terminates the whole loop and it jump out of the loop block. With the continue, if you want to repeat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just want to skip one line, one iteration, not the whole process. You just want to skip one round. So we can use continue. For example, I want to skip the second round or the third round. I can use continue. What it does, it terminate I'll show you both of them. It terminate the current loop iteration. And the rest is pretty the same, like break. Let's see what does it mean in practice. Let me reshare my screen. I open a new block and I want to see how it works. For example, imagine I have n equal to 5 and I say while n is bigger than 0, then reduce it. So n is equal to n minus 1. So in each iteration, reduce the number by 1. 5 should becomes 4, 4 becomes 3, 2. Here, inside the loop, imagine I can use if, and I say if n becomes 2, so if it becomes 2, then break. And then print n. I'll explain what does it mean. Print n. And here, I can type loop ended, but outside of loop. Print loop ended. What happens? In the first line, you say n is 5. Okay, is 5 bigger than 0? Yes. If yes, then go inside to the loop. What do you have inside the loop? Inside the loop, it says reduce your number. So 5 should become 4. Okay. Is 4 equal to 2? No. Okay. So this condition is not true. It's false. It says keep whatever you have inside if it goes and print it. So number 4 will be printed. Then it goes back again. Is 4 bigger than 0? Yes. So reduce it to 3. Okay, now the new value inside n is 3. Is 3 equal to 2? No. So it will skip the if and it goes and print 3. Again, it goes up. Is 3 bigger than 0? Yes. Reduce it to 2. This time, 2 is equal to 2. So in the right, you have 2. In the left, it becomes 2. When this condition is true, it goes inside if. What do we have inside if? Inside if we have break. And we know that break will terminate the whole loop. So it exits the loop. What do we have out of the loop? This sentence. It's out of loop. These 3, 4, they are part of while. They are inside while. Let's run the code to see what happens. I reckon I need to refresh the page.
I think Amir upper code is running, that's why it is not.
Oh, sorry, what was that? Recording?
No, upper code is running, I think. Executing is still here.
But the previous code was working. Let's see. So that one is working, but this one. Oh, it seems that it worked. But why it's so slow? Yeah, it's a little bit slow.
I think you were saying because the previous code is still running, it's trying to execute that. So if you hit
This one, you
stop,
mean?
and then it should start the next code.
Oh, yes. Okay. So you see that n is 5. So 5 is bigger than 0. It goes to the next line. Reduce it to 4. Okay. Is 4 equal to 2? No. Print number 4. So number 4 is here. Then it doesn't print this. It says still stay in the loop. So it goes up. 4 minus 1 is 3. Is 3 equal to 2? Yes. So print it. Then in the next round, n becomes 2. So 2 is equal to 2. And it will stop the whole process. It jumps out of the loop and it print loop ended. Now if I change this, so look at the outcome 4, 3 and loop ended. If I change break to continue and rerun the code. So you see that 4, 3, you missed number 2 here. So it just skipped that round. It doesn't terminate the whole process. It just printed 4, 3. In the third attempt, number 2 is equal to 2. It says just skip this line and don't print it. It means that don't run anything after continue and then go to the next iteration. In the next iteration, you have n equal to 2. So 2 minus 1, it becomes 1. Obviously, it's not equal to 2, so it will go and print number 1. In the next round, 1 minus 1, it's 0. So again, it's doesn't satisfy the if condition, so it will print number 0. In the next round, here we have 0. Is 0 bigger than 0? No, so it goes out of the loop and it's print loop ended. So you see that there are a couple of different conditions. All of them should be true. We have a while statement, it should be true. We have an if statement, it should be true. So in reality, there might be so many criteria that all of them should be true in order to execute a command. Let's do work in a couple of more examples. Another thing that it's good to mention, it's something like this, while true. While true, print something. For example, print hello. What happens if I run this code? While true, print hello. So this statement, it's an infinite loop. It just keeps going. While true, it means that while everything is true, just go and print. Let's run this code to see what happens. Oh, sorry, it should be true with capital T. You see, it just keep typing hello, 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 hello. It just keep going down. Yeah, it just keep typing hello. Why? Because while true means just keep going. So it's an infinite loop. You need to stop it, otherwise it keeps going. We had another example in the previous session. For example, if I is bigger than, like this one, if n is, let's say 5, it's obviously bigger than 0. So if I change this to this, in each iteration, increase number by 1. So 5 becomes 6. Is it equal to 2? No. So this condition never happens. Go and print it. Let's see. Look, it keeps going down so fast. Why? Because there is nothing to stop it. Number 5, it's always bigger than 0. It's like a while true statement. It's always true. 5, it's always bigger than 0. And in each iteration, it's become even bigger. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100, 200, 500. So these two examples, it shows you how we can have an infinite loop. When we can use it, in certificate 4, you will see that this is a kind of DOS attack, denial of service attack. For example, imagine that I want to connect to a server. Later on, you will see when a client try to connect to a server, firstly, they have a process called three-way handshake, sending a SYN packet, SYN acknowledgement, and receiving an acknowledgement. So sometimes it happens a PC keeps sending a SYN packet or synchronized packet to a server, and it doesn't wait for the communication to get established. It keeps sending. In networking, we have networking, not this year, but next year we have another unit for networking. We will see when, in reality, when we want to test connectivity between two devices, we use a command ping. If you have any gamer here, gamers, they always use ping. So ping is a criteria they use to see the latency. If they want to see if they have a fast connection or not, they use ping. Later on, we will learn about ping commands. So what it shows the time. So this time is so important for gamers. When this time is so high, here I have like 5, 10, 9, 9, and 7 milliseconds. When this number is high, like 200 milliseconds, 600 milliseconds, it's a sign of low or pretty poor internet connections. But some attackers, they try ping to attack a server by just keep sending packets. So what they do, they create a loop like that, and they keep sending a request to a server. It's like, for example, imagine you work in a shop. Imagine you work in retail. Imagine you work in office work. And then there is a customer just keep asking you, do you have this item in the stock? 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 And they don't even wait to get the response. So it just keeps you busy. So later on, we will see that just by using this very simple iteration or loops, we are able to send a big number, as you see, so many. So we just need to write a couple of lines of codes to send. But in reality, there are so many security systems that they detect. If you try to keep sending packets to keep a server busy, firewalls, they can easily detect you that someone is trying to keep the server busy or bring the server down or bring the website down. So they detect if there is a high number, as you see, it's so fast. If the high number of packets or high number of traffic is coming from an IP, they can quickly detect and block it. So in order to fix that, attackers, instead of using only one PC, they try to use multiple PCs. We call it botnet. Later on in Cert 4 in cybersecurity, if you proceed, you will see attackers, they try to use multiple victims, and they use, sometimes your device might be impacted. It's highly possible an attacker is using your device without your own knowledge, but they don't want to attack you. You are not the target. You are a medium to target, attack another target. So they may use your device to attack another server or another target. So it's a distributed type of attack, and it's pretty hard for the security system to detect it. Sometimes the security system, they detect if the traffic is coming from, for example, a country or from a geographical area. For example, attacks are coming from North Korea. Still, if they use a wide range of devices to attack a server, they still have the same IP. So they block it. But just wanted to show you what happens if you use an infinite loop like that. It can be used for attacking, sending too much traffic in a short time. Let's do work in another example. Countdown attempts. We work on that as well. Let to find another activity. Okay, so for the next task, write a code sum of first 10 numbers. So write a code to add number 1 to 2, 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. Let's make it 100. Sum of first 100 numbers. I mean, I want to see something like this. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 99 plus 100. So if you want to do this with your calculator, it takes probably half an hour. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 15, 21, 28, 36, just like that, but goes down to 100. Firstly, try to write the steps down, and then it just need to have 4 line of code with the help of for or while. It's all up to you. Okay, so it seems that your code is working, carrying good. Carry. I'm not sure if your problem fixed Zach or not. If not, I will have a look when I finish the class.
Yeah, it's still going, but it's all right. I'll look at it later.
Okay. Okay, so let's write this code. Firstly, you can create a variable, name it sum, and initially it has the value of 0. So we want to have this variable to put the sum of the first 2 digits in the first go, then we need to add the third number, replace the value in sum. Okay, so I create a variable like sum, and it has the value of 0. Then I create a range. I can say for I in range 101. Why 101? Because I want to include number 100 as well. If I put 100, it goes down from 0 to 99. We want to have 100 as well. So for I in range 101. So if you don't specify the lower bound, it assumes it's a start from 0. So it doesn't need to say 0 to 101. It can just leave it as it is. For I in range 101, what to do? Sum is equal to sum plus 1. So the first digit is 0, 0 goes here, 0 plus 1, it becomes 1. Then it goes up again, it becomes 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, and just like that. Obviously, when I'm using for, it's a loop. It means that I need to have indentation. I need to send this one tab or one space to the right. It seems that everything is working. If I put print sum, I have 2 options. I can put print here, or I can send it out of loop. If you send it to the right, it becomes part of the loop. It means that in each attempt, increase the number and print the number. So first attempt, you have 0, 0 plus 1, it becomes 1. So number 1 will be printed. Then number 2, number 3, number 4, all of that. Let's see. What it says that you forgot to put colon. So I put the colon here, rerun the code. Let's have a look. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is it what you want? No. That's not what we want. It just shows the number. We want to see the total number of sum. How to fix that? Because in this format, it just print the number in each attempt. If I send print out of the loop, you see that it still doesn't work. Sum plus I, correct. Let's see. Let's send this to the loop. Do you reckon it's the result that we wish? I want to see number 1, then 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. 15 plus 6 is 21. Plus 7 is 28. So that's correct. It seems that it's working. If you scroll down, it's 5050, which is correct. So if you add all the numbers from 1 to 100, it becomes 5050. If you don't want to see each attempt, you can send print out of the loop. So it just gives you the final digit. Here, I change 1 to I, as Mahmoud correctly said. So what happens? Firstly, your first number is 0. Is 0 is in this range? Yes. So 0, let's just send this down and rerun the code so you can see the result. So 0 goes here. 0 plus 0, it's 0. Number 0 will be printed. In the next round, 0 becomes 1. So 1 plus 0, it's 1, printed here. The next attempt, I becomes 2. 2 plus the previous number. What was the previous number? It was 1. 2 plus 1, it becomes 3. In the next round, you have 3 in sum. Imagine sum is a box. It's a memory. So in your memory, you have number 3. And I is a counter. So this time you have number 4. 4 plus 6 you already have, it becomes 10. So now you have 10 in the box, and next round I becomes 5. So 5 plus the previous number, it becomes 15. Now you have 15 in the box, and the next round you have 6 for the I. So 6 plus 15, it becomes 21. Now you have 21 in the box, and you need to add 7. So it becomes 28. Then you need to add 9. So 28, sorry, you need to add 8. 28 plus 8, it becomes 36. Plus 9, it becomes 45. Plus 10, 55. Plus 11, 66. Plus 12, 78. Just like that, it goes on. And in each attempt, it shows the result. So if you put print here, part of the loop, in each iteration, it shows you the result. If you send it out of the loop, it only shows you the final number, which is 5050. Okay, so I reckon that's all enough. The other things that I wanted to show you is assignments. So let's give you some idea about the assessments.
So, Mary, can you send me the emails from
Yes,
the classes?
sure. Yes, I saw your message. Yes, for sure. I will send it to you.
Sorry, because I literally can't breathe today.
That's okay. I will send it to you. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Okay, so firstly, if you want to get access to the assignments, I don't need to email you the assignments. I reckon one of you ask in the chat box. To get access to the assessments, firstly, you need to go to content. And in the content, you just need to go to the unit, which is this one. I opened the next unit for you as well. This unit is ICT PRG 302. I explained all of this in the first session, but you just need to click on the unit, apply introductory programming techniques. Then you need to go to assessment task. So click on assessment tasks. If you're logging to assessment task for the first time, there is a declaration form that you need to go and accept that this is my own task. Here you see that there is a quiz. I just leave the quiz for you if you want to have a look. You just need to click on the link and then you see that there are 2 attempts. I'll just leave it for you. The quiz is just for you. But there is another assessment task, which is assessment task 2. This one, assessment task 2. So you need to download the templates from here. Assessment task 2, a skill tasks template. So click and you download the template. Then you need to click on enable editing. Let me just send this bar here. So enable editing. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Then you need to put down your student name and your student ID. What it says you need to design a password manager. So if you go down, you see the password manager. So it says that imagine that you are working as a programmer for digital agency apps to you, and you have a client. The client is DigiCore. DigiCore says that our staff, they are using insecure practices to record their credentials. For example, they have multiple accounts, and when they want to log in, they write down the username or passwords on a sticky notes or something like that, which is not secure. What we want to have? We want to have a password manager. Password manager, we can use it to store and retrieve credentials for websites and other logging services used by employees. Okay. The first one is asking you clarify task with required personnel. Discuss the programming specification in this task with your instructor that are helping you. This is your opportunity to ask your questions. So I already explained this in the first session, I reckon, but in simple, what you need to do, you need to create a password manager. If you scroll down, you can see all the information below. You need to create a password manager. The password manager needs to have 3 items in its menu. Where is it here? Like this. For example, if I go back to Google Colab, for example, you need to have a section for credentials, add credentials. For credentials, you need to have a username, a password, and a URL. Again, it's mentioned in the assessment task. So you can create a username, then you can say input, you're looking for an string. So obviously you don't need to change it to integer or float, password, and URL. Please enter the URL. Okay, so it's pretty easy. You ask for password, you ask for username, and you also ask for the path. For example, if I run this, please enter your username. I say my username is Connor, for example. So that's my username. Then it asks for the password. My password is pass123 4 exclamation mark. Okay. Then the URL. URL is anything, I don't know. .com.au. So the first part of your code is this one, to add the credentials. So you need to spend a bit of time and think about it, how to add credentials. Also, the assessment task is asking you to create another option like this for viewing the credentials. View credentials. And also, you need to have another option for exit. So let's you go back to the assessment task. Where is it? Assessment task. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to create a code to ask for credentials and save it. For the credentials, you need to ask for username, for password, for URL. And also in the menu, it needs to have another option to view the credentials and also for exit. Let you go down. In the next section, it's asking you identify design specification relevant to the task, and then you need to complete the following design specification. What does it mean? For example, here overview the project. You can say in this project, I create an script. So you can answer like this, an script to help Digico employees to a store and retrieve their credentials. Something like that. Who will use this application? DigiCore employees. Why is the application needed? Because it provides a secure platform to save their credentials. What is the benefit of using this application for the client? They don't need to write their passwords and their credentials on a sticky notes. It's more secure. They can encrypt it. So you just need to put your answers here. If you want to change the color also to make it easier for me to read your answers, it's pretty easy. You can just change it to another color. So I know this is your answer. So you will answer all of these fields. For each question, just one sentence, two sentences is enough. It doesn't need to put 1 page, 2 page of answer. What are the benefits? You say, what are the features, appearance, all of those things, you will answer it. Then you need to have an algorithm design. For this question, it's asking you to create an algorithm or a design, like, for example, a step-by-step instructions on what you want to do. You can say, in the first step to show or print password manager. Then to create a variable to ask for the username. Then to create another variable to ask for password, to ask for URL. Cool. So just think about it. Again, as I said, next Wednesday I will work on this assessment task too, but don't leave it for the last session. Just do your best and try to write the code. In tomorrow's session, what I will do, I show you also how to save your data. For example, here in Google Colab, imagine that now I have this information and I want to save it as a TXT file or CSV file. How we are able to do that? Appending or adding some data to the previous records is another things that I will talk about it in the next two sessions. At this stage, if it gets this information, for example, Connor as a username, password, pass1234 with exclamation mark, hit the password for nab.com.au. Okay, so now I have this data and I want to save it as a txt file or export it to a txt file. I will show you how to do that. And then imagine Connor wants to add another username and password for another website. For example, for View Collaborate login, he may have another username and he may have another password. So how we are able to add new data to the previous data, I will talk about it in the next two sessions. So you learn how to export your data to a txt file and how to append. It's better to say append means adding data to the previous records, adding data to the previous logs. Anyway, so this is your assessment task 2 template. Please have a look if you still didn't. And in the next session, as I discussed, I will keep talking about loops. So we will work in a couple of more examples. And then we will work on exporting data to txt file or CSV file and file handling. So file handling is the topic for the next session. If you have any question, I'm here. Let me just stop this and see what you put in the chat. Okay, I'm not sure if Lynn has done this. Probably no, she didn't. Let me to quickly update the attendance as well. Yes, Lynn should help us to complete it. I will help you. Lynn also will help, but just do your best to see if you are able to write the code. The first few sections in your assessment task, we're just asking about the general questions, uh, creating a flowchart. For flowchart, again, as I mentioned, you can use a piece of paper and a pen, write down all the steps. Or alternatively, you can use, I don't know, Microsoft Word or Visio or Canva. I don't know, any software that you're familiar. Attendance today, 28th of October. Okay, so today Ahmed is here. Ash is not. Christian is here. Connor is here. Dan is here. Jacob. So I have someone with the name of Jacob. Hi, Jacob. How are you? I don't have your name. What is your exact name, mate? Do you know? Because I can't find you. Let me see, Jacob. No, I don't have Jacob. Maybe you are in the class with another name. So if that's the case, let me know. So I put your attendance. Let me check why I don't have you in the list. I check for you now. No, it doesn't show your name. You moved from another class, yes? So is it your oh, okay. Okay, it's your first session today, yes? In my class? Okay, cool. Yes, okay, makes sense. Yes, I saw the email. Yes, the admin team, they send me an email. Yeah, it may take like 24 hours. So I have your name in the class. That's okay. I hope that you enjoyed the session and welcome on board. Yeah, it may take like 1 day, so I have your name in the class. That's okay. Let's keep going. Okay, Dan is here, Kair is here, Karin is here. Luis? No. Lynn is here, Mac is here, Mahmoud is here, Maria is here, Maxwell is here, and Nathan is here. Nam is here, Peter is here. Priyanka, Sanjay, and Savajit are here. Sanjay, Sarvajit, Stuart, Timmy, no. Zach is here, Summit is here. Oh, good. Cool. So any question? Okay, thank you so much. Yes, so Mac created an account in WhatsApp. If you wish, I don't want to encourage or discourage anyone. If you wish to join to a group with your classmates, that's all up to you. If you want, I don't know, to talk to each other or collaborate with your assignments, it's all up to you. Thank you so much, Mike. Also, it might be a good idea. If anyone is interested, you can join to that group. So tomorrow and Thursday, I will keep working with loops, functions, and also file handling. So that's the topic for the next 2 sessions. Next Tuesday, as discussed, there is no class. Let me to stop recording.